Imagine a world without plastic. Hard to picture, isn't it? That's because injection molding has made it possible. In the simplest terms, injection molding is a process that creates shape by introducing a heated material into a specifically designed mold. Once the material cools down, we have our desired product perfectly formed. It's a bit like baking a cake. But instead of batter, we're using plastic. And instead of a cake tin, we have a complex mold. This process is responsible for a colossal range of products we use every day. The toys children play with, the containers that keep our food fresh, even the components that make up the car you drive. All these and more owe their existence to the ingenious method of injection molding. And the best part? It's a highly efficient and cost-effective production method that can create a large quantity of goods in a short amount of time. So ready to delve into the fascinating world of injection molding? Buckle up! Injection molding might seem complicated, but it's all about melting and shaping. Let's imagine the injection molding machine as a busy kitchen. The primary components are the hopper, the screw, the barrel, and the mold, each playing a crucial role in creating the final product. First up, the hopper. This is like the pantry of our kitchen holding the raw material, called the plastic resin. This resin is typically in the form of small granules waiting to be turned into something useful. Next, we have the screw. Think of this as the blender, churning and mixing the plastic resin. As it rotates, the screw not only mixes the resin but also pushes it forward into the barrel. The screw's motion generates heat, which begins to melt the resin, preparing it for the next step. The barrel is akin to the cooking pot. Here the plastic resin goes from a solid to a liquid state thanks to the heat generated by the screw and the barrel's heater bands. It's important that the barrel maintains a consistent temperature to ensure the plastic melts evenly without burning. Finally, we have the mold. This is the baking tray of our kitchen, giving shape to our final product. The mold is a precision-engineered block usually made of steel or aluminum, designed to shape the molten plastic into the desired form. It's a two-part system, with one half attached to a movable platen, and the other half to a fixed platen. When the two halves come together, they form a cavity that's filled with the molten plastic. The beauty of injection molding lies in its versatility. By changing the mold, we can create an array of different products from tiny components to large parts. Now that we know the players, it's time to see them in action. The first step in this intricate dance is clamping. Picture a pair of hands pressing two puzzle pieces together. That's essentially what we're doing here, but on a much larger, more industrial scale. The two halves of the mold, often crafted from hardy metals like steel or aluminum, are brought together in a tender yet firm embrace. This isn't just any old hug though, this is done under pressure. Why, you ask? Well, it's to ensure that every nook, every cranny, every tiny detail etched into the mold fits together perfectly. It's a bit like ensuring the lid on a jar is screwed on tight. If it's loose, the contents could spill out, and what a mess that would be. The same principle applies here. If our mold isn't secure, the molten plastic could leak, ruining the final product. But fret not. With our mold clamped and securely in place, we're ready for the next step. Now comes the exciting part: injection. The injection process begins with the plastic granules. These granules are small, hard pellets that are usually transparent or white. This is the raw material, the very essence of what will soon become a fully formed plastic part. These granules are loaded into a device known as a hopper. This hopper is a bit like a funnel, guiding the granules down into the heart of the injection molding machine. It's here that the granules begin their transformation. Once inside the machine, the granules are introduced to heat. They are essentially melted down into a liquid state. This is a crucial step, as it's this liquid plastic that will be injected into the mold. Now, this isn't done lightly. The plastic is subjected to a tremendous amount of pressure. This pressure is necessary to ensure that the plastic fills every nook and cranny of the mold. Every detail, every curve, every ridge of the mold must be filled. This pressure guarantees that no detail is left unaccounted for. The injection process is a marvel of precision and control. The machine must maintain a delicate balance, providing enough heat to melt the plastic, but not so much that it degrades the material. It must apply enough pressure to fill the mold, but not so much that it damages the mold or the machine. Once the plastic is in a molten state, it's then injected into the mold. This is done quickly and efficiently, with the machine injecting the liquid plastic into the mold in a matter of seconds. And just like that, the injection process is complete. The granules, once a simple raw material, have now been transformed. They've been heated, melted, and injected into a mold, taking on its shape and form. Once the mold is filled, it's time to cool things down. This is where the next step of the injection molding process comes into play. But for now, take a moment to appreciate the magic of injection. The transformation of granules into a fully formed plastic part is truly a marvel of modern manufacturing. After the heat of injection, it's time for a chill. Now that the molten plastic has been injected into the mold, we need to let it cool down and solidify. This is an essential step in the injection molding process, and it's all about patience. Think of it like baking a cake. Once you've mixed the ingredients and poured the batter into the pan, you've got to let it bake until it's fully cooked. In the same way, the plastic needs time to cool and harden within the mold. The duration of this cooling process can vary depending on the thickness and size of the part being molded, as well as the type of plastic being used. As the plastic cools, it begins to solidify, taking on the exact shape of the mold. It's a transformation process, really. We're going from a hot, liquid state to a solid, finished product. The cooling process is carefully controlled to ensure that the plastic solidifies evenly and maintains the desired shape. Once the plastic has completely cooled and solidified, we're ready for the next step, which is ejection. This is where the finished product is pushed out of the mold. It's kind of like popping a piece of toast out of the toaster, only here we're dealing with plastic, not bread. The ejection process is typically automated, with a mechanism in the machine pushing the finished part out of the mold. This ejection process needs to be done with care to avoid damaging the finished product. It's a delicate balance between force and finesse, ensuring that the part is ejected smoothly and without causing any deformation or damage. And there you have it. From plastic granules, we've heated, injected, cooled, and ejected, ending up with a finished product. It's a fascinating process, isn't it? The transformation that takes place is nothing short of remarkable. And just like that, we've gone from plastic granules to a finished product. Injection molding might seem like magic, but it's really just science and engineering at work. As we've seen throughout this video, injection molding is a fascinating process, merging art and science in a dance of precision and creativity. Let's take a moment to revisit the key points we've covered. We started with an introduction to injection molding, explaining the essentials of what it is and why it's such a vital part of manufacturing today. This process, used to produce a wide variety of everyday items, transforms raw plastic pellets into a myriad of objects that enhance our lives. We then dived into the basics of injection molding, where we discovered that it's a cycle, a repetitive process involving several key stages. We highlighted how each stage plays a crucial role in creating the final product. Next, we delved into the first step of the process, clamping. Here we explored the importance of the mold and how it is secured in place. The two halves of the mold must meet with precision, ready to receive the molten plastic. Then we moved on to the injection phase, where heated plastic is injected into the mold. This stage, as we found, requires a delicate balance of pressure, speed, and volume to ensure the molten plastic fills the mold correctly. Finally, we discussed the cooling and ejection stages. We learned how the plastic cools and solidifies within the mold before being ejected as a finished product. This process, though it sounds simple, is a marvel of engineering finesse, where every second and every degree matter. So, next time you pick up a plastic object, remember the incredible journey it's been on, and don't forget to subscribe for more exciting insights into how